This is Top Accolade African News Update. I am Soibifa Jakrich. A court in Mauritania has jailed former President Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz for 5 years for corruption. It found Aziz guilty of money laundering and abusing his position to illegally enrich himself, but acquitted him on other charges. The court also ordered the confiscation of his illegally acquired assets. Aziz, 66, was elected president in 2009 after toppling President Sidi Ould Abdallahi in a coup and went on to lead Mauritania until 2019. He had been on trial in the capital, Nouakchott, since January, alongside 10 other prominent figures, including 2 former prime ministers and former ministers who served in his administration. They had been charged with several offenses, including abuse of power, money laundering, illicit enrichment, and influence peddling. The court, which specializes in corruption and economic crisis, also sentenced some of the co-accused on Monday, albeit to lighter sentences than Aziz, while the former prime ministers and 2 ex-ministers were acquitted. Aziz maintained his innocence throughout the trial and described his prosecution as political motivated. He is said to have fallen out with his successor and current president Mohamed Ghazani, who was once his close political ally, the AFP news agency's reports. He is also alleged to have amassed immense wealth during his decade-long rule. The trial we attended was a political trial, and its verdict is also very political. One of Aziz's lawyers, Mohamed Ould was quoted as saying by AFP. His lawyers have also said that they plan to appeal against the verdict. At least 85 civilians were killed in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria, in an airstrike during a Muslim religious celebration on Sunday, the local emergency management authority said. The civilians were killed in a bombing mishap, President Bola Tinubu said, without giving a death toll. State Governor Uba Sani said they were mistakenly killed by a military drone targeting terrorists and bandits. More than 60 people were admitted to hospital for treatment, officials said. The Defense Ministry termed the operation a needless strategy, adding that a routine mission against militants inadvertently affected members of the community. Nigeria's military has for years been battling armed criminals and militants who has been operating in parts of northern Nigeria, raiding villages and kidnapping residents for ransom. The airstrike happened when villagers from Todunbiri gathered for a religious festival on Sunday evening. The head of the army, Lieutenant General Tarid Lagbaja, has apologized to the residents and paid a condolence visit to the village. He expressed regrets about the unfortunate mishap, describing it as a very disheartening occurrence. The army said. General Lagbaja said that the troops were carrying out aerial patrols when they observed a group of people and wrongly analyzed and misinterpreted their pattern of activities to be similar to that of the bandits before the drone strike. President Tinubu has asked for a thorough and full-fledged investigation into the incident and calls for calm while the authorities look diligently into the mishap, a statement from the office said. The governor has also called for an investigation. The Northwest Zonal Office has received details from the local authorities that 85 dead bodies have so far been buried, while search is still ongoing. A statement from the National Emergency Management Agency in the federal capital, Abuja, said. It is worthy of note that the casualties range from children, women, and the elderly, it added. One man who witnessed what happened said the aircraft dropped a bomb at the venue. It destroyed and killed our people, including women and children, he said. The second bomb was dropped on some of us who went to bring dead bodies of the victims of the first blast. We lost about 34 people in my family, and we have 66 injured people in the hospital. A woman who saw the aftermath of bombing said that bodies were strewn all over the place. Some women died holding their babies. Some of the babies survived, while others died along with their mothers, she said. Five civilians have been killed in Ethiopia's Amhara region after a drone strike hit an ambulance, witnesses said. 3 other people, including a head of local hospital, were injured in the incident that happened in Wogel Tena town in northeastern Amhara. The attack occurred last week but was only confirmed on Wednesday due to communications restrictions imposed by the local authorities. The driver of the ambulance, a pharmacist, and nearby construction workers were among those who killed, with witnesses said. The federal forces are said to be using drones to target local militias as the violence that broke out in April continues to escalate. Last month, the UN said it was troubled by drone strike hitting civilian targets in Amhara. They said several people were killed in an attack on a school compound and a bus station. The military governments of Mali and Niger have announced plans to end their decades-long tax agreements with France within the next 3 months. The ruling juntas of the two countries said in a joint statement that they were ending the tax pact due to France's persistent hostile attitude towards their countries and the unbalanced nature of these agreements, which result in a considerable loss of revenue for Mali and Niger, the AFP news agency reported. Mali's tax agreements with France has been in place since 1972, while Niger's deal with the European country has existed since 1965. That is the size of top accolade African news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Wednesday.